Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Duncan, host of the TXK State of Mind podcast. Tonight, you're going to be joining us for TX Conversations 19th episode. And our special guest tonight is going to be Mr. Vashil Fernandez, the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Texarkana. And we're going to welcome him so he's going to be able to talk about community development through diverse cultures. Vashil, welcome to the stage.
Sorry. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so glad to have you. I've always wondered who you were. I would see this tall gentleman downtown, different events, working, moving, and shaking. So I remember talking with Deanna, and she said, well, she would be a good person to have on your show to talk about all the things that he's doing. So I was glad to have you come on and be able to speak with us tonight on the platform. So before we get started, I want to give you an opportunity just to tell us a little bit about who you are. What was your path to Texarkana? And we'll get started from there.
We might be here all night if I start talking. Well, you said my name is Vashil Fernandez. A little bit about me, first and foremost. My faith drives everything I do. I'm a man of God. I'm a husband. I've been married to my wife for 9 years.
Gotta get it right.
Yeah, it is right at 9 years. Um, and we have four beautiful girls. Originally born and raised in Jamaica, and so I've been to many different places. My journey to how I got to Texarkana, uh, after I moved to the States in September 2010, I was in DC, lived there for a little bit, went to prep school. Then got the opportunity to get on scholarship, get offered a couple different places, um, and then decided to take an offer to go to Valparaiso University, which is
Yes.
just an hour east of Chicago, and so that's where I went to school for 5 years. Um, and after having that opportunity to go there, I was also on the basketball team while I was in college, and so after I graduated, I got the opportunity to um, sign a contract with the Miami Heat, and so I played with them for a couple months in the NBA. Then after after leaving there, I went to G League for the rest of that year, two different teams in Greensboro, North Carolina, and then also in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I did that after I finished that year. I ended up going overseas. Was supposed to go to Romania, and that didn't end up happening. Ended up going to Spain, where I spent 2 years in Spain. And then after being in Spain, I went to China for a season, and then decided without with with how all the contracts was going, it was hard for me to keep leaving my family and parent my kid the way that I want to, being gone for 10 months at a time. And so the decision at that point was easy for me. I had graduated college with two master's degrees, and so I was ready to make that switch to make sure I'm there for my family. And so after I decided to retire in September of 2019, I started networking with some people. At the time, we had lived down in Austin, and so I was just one kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what was called. So I got into to figure out what economic and community development was. And so after starting building some relationships and networking, I kind of um, got got exposed to it a little bit, and I was like, "Well, this is something I've always wanted to do." Growing up in rural Jamaica, where our street infrastructure was never good, I've always had a heart or a passion to try and change that. And so when I got the opportunity after applying for jobs to come to Texarkana and work as a community development specialist, I was more than excited because one, it was something that allowed me to be out in the community, um, which I love doing. I like building relationships. I like talking to people. I like sharing my culture. And so uh, this job gave me the opportunity, one, to get my feet wet and to build some relationships. And so um, I remember my wife was we were kind of looking at Texarkana, and we were like, ooh, Texarkana. And so we prayed about it and decided to make the move up here. And we're grateful that we did. Because now November will be 5 full years that we've been in Texarkana. And so it's been good. I've moved up to now I'm the director for the department. But that's like a quick synopsis of how we got here and where we're at right now. Specialist. And then a year and a half later, I became the director for the department. And so this coming November, we'll be here for 5 years. Um,
Okay.
so
All right. So you've been in Texas quite a while. It's a big difference
yes,
from moving from DC to Chicago to Atlanta now, and of course Austin, with all the hustle and bustle that's going on and growth there to Texarkana. So what is some of the things that you're involved in? I know just by watching you and looking at the things that you do, you have your hand in a lot of things from community development to revitalization to actually being a key piece of the initiatives that are going on with the homeless population that we have in Texarkana, specifically in the downtown. So, talk a little bit about your role as the director of planning and community development. Some of the things that you're doing, your daily duties.
yeah. And I like telling people about what I do and how much I enjoy just the diversity of what I do. Um, I share that I can in the morning have a conversation with a homeless person on the street, trying to help them get their needs figured out. To spend midday working with our neighborhoods, trying to do revitalization. To the afternoon, spend talking with people that are trying to grow their business or trying to bring businesses in town. And so it varies a lot of different things I do, but I do as the director of planning and community development do get involved in infrastructure related things, whether it's planting trees or building sidewalks, whether it's working on neighborhood stabilization plan and working to create neighborhood associations or create sustainable neighborhoods, um, to working with my staff for on a grant that provides housing for homeless that live in our city, to working with staff on EPA brownfield job training, which we're actually getting ready to start partnering with Texarkana College, but also looking at cleanup and assessment for brownfield properties that are within our city. And one unique one was the Grim was a brownfield project that we were able to get funds to do cleanup, and, and now we're close to the point to where it's going to be. We're going to have residents living in there pretty soon, so I'm very excited about seeing that one come to fruition.
Okay,
But
so when you talk
um,
about the Brownfield project, can you elaborate on that? What exactly is that when you speak about Brownfield projects?
and I'm going to butcher this. I know my one of my staff, Daphne, she is like our guru at this. But so my explanation of brownfield is, are these are contaminated sites that have whether it be asbestos, lead-based paint, different
Gotcha.
things. These are structures that have a lot of those things in there. And so the Grim, for example, had a lot of asbestos, a lot of lead-based paint, and other contaminants. And so with the EPA brownfield funding, we're able to uh, do mitigation to clean that site up, and get it to a point to where a developer can come in and redevelop it. And that's really kind of what those funds are for, to kind of assess what what needs to be done, and then provide loans to be able to get that cleanup effort done to make it in a space that we can start redeveloping. That's like
Okay.
the gist of kind of what brownfields are and how they're redeveloped.
Okay. So I know you just talked about some initiative that you're doing to help with housing for the homeless.
Mhm.
What type of plans do you guys have in place or trying to put in place to provide housing options for our homeless population?
So one of the things I know we do specifically within our city, we work through the state TDHCA is an acronym. It stands for Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. And so we work with them as well as the Texas Homeless Network, and we apply for a continuum of care grant each year or submit an application, and through that we're able to get funding to do what is called rapid rehousing,
Okay.
and we work with Randy Sams and Mission Texarkana. We kind of subaward some of the contract to them to for their case managers to go out and do assessments and find people or homeless people, people that are in the shelters to kind of get back on their feet. So how the COC Rapid Rehousing Program is supposed to work is, we get these individuals and we put them try to have them in for 2 years or less in the program, and the
Right.
goal within that 2 year time is to get them to stability to where at the end of the 2 years they have a job and they're paying their own bills and they're pretty much self-sustainable.
Okay. So the role that you play is trying to help with the homeless populations is working with them to try to get housing, suitable housing, and then while in that process, helping them get employed so they can be able to sustain bills and things of that nature of the homes that you actually get them into. So do you see a lot of families that are experiencing homelessness right now within the Texarkana area?
Yeah, and my role is part of that, and then also I serve as the homeless coalition president, and so
Okay.
um, as the homeless coalition president, with our goal of trying to make homelessness real, brief, and non-recurring, I kind of function as that umbrella entity, or we function as that umbrella entity that brings in all the other service. Because a lot of the time when people are homeless, there's a lot of underlying issues that cause people to get to that point of homelessness, whether it's drug addiction, and we talk about drug addiction. We're doing a opioid training for a lot of the organizations next
Okay.
Tuesday, the 20th, at the Arkansas Convention Center at noon. To kind of one just educate some of our organizations, but we're also providing them with Narcan for people that see someone that's overdosed. They're able to administer Narcan to help them. So we try to address. We know homelessness isn't a one-off thing. There's a lot of underlying issues, whether it's drug addiction or mental health or other trauma that people have been through, or just poverty. And so we work with all these different agencies. We work with the Literacy Council. We work with the Salvation Army and Randy Sams. We work with Community Health Corps. Um, just all these different entities. We work with 100 families to try and provide or try to tackle this issue, this multifaceted issue from all these different standpoints, but trying to have a cohesive effort of doing that. You're working on this portion of it, but the goal is to address this person's homelessness by addressing all these different needs and um, helping 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 a lot of these people kind of get back on their feet. But and now I would say a lot of families we've starting to see recently a lot of young adults or even teens that are homeless. Um, and so we're that's one of the things that we are starting to look at more recently. See, there are a lot more teens that are on the streets that are homeless, and at any given point in the year, we have some transient population that will come through and stop here, um, and then move on. And that's one of the things that we fight against, and you hear it all the time, is that sometimes we're doing too good of a job to where people are wanting to come here,
Right.
um, and that's a hard thing to it's a hard thing to like. Yes, we're doing a job, doing what we're supposed to do by helping those people that are in need. Some people take advantage of the services. That's not something that really is in our control. But we're here to help and serve, and so um, those people, we're grateful that those people need the help are actually getting the help that they need to become self-sustainable.
Okay. So once they gets become self-sustainable, you get them a job and you get them housing, do you see a lot of them that stay within the community and come back and be able to serve as resources or assistance for your
Some of them
mission?
actually do. Some of them actually do. The ones that when we have cases where some people aren't successful, because there's a lot of underlying issues. some of them we were able to address, and some of them we aren't able to address within the program specifically, which is why we're working on kind of building out more wraparound services to kind of help people to become even more stable and address a lot of the underlying issues. But we do see, excuse me, we do see some of the people that we that go through our program able to come back in and and even offer services. I know right now we are working with Mission Texarkana and doing a job training program, and
Okay.
we for the longest time was able to provide a job training program to help uh, people who are homeless or formerly homeless get some work, and that was mainly do litter pickup throughout our downtown. One, it's beautifying our downtown. And two, it's also giving them a job to build up their resume and have some income coming in. And so we've had a couple of our clients that were able to use that and kind of help uplift themselves and get better paying jobs, but they're still wanting to come back and contribute. If we have an event, they're showing up to volunteer. Um, if we have different activities happening, they're wanting to be a part of it and help people that they're in the situation that they were in.
Okay, that's very interesting because I know with the work that I do, I work with veterans um,
Hmm.
in the southeast, all over Louisiana, and so homelessness and the substance use and mental illness, those are some of the things that we deal with. So, do you often see a lot of veterans that come through and benefit from the services that you offer?
Um, we do, and even with our point in time count, we don't have a lot of like homeless veterans. We do have some, but thankfully we have a plethora of services geared towards veterans that we're able to get them in quickly. So if we have a veteran that comes here, I can connect them to the veterans group that's here in Texarkana. They just built a new facility on Summer Hill Road. We can
Right,
get them connected there. I know with Community Health Corps, we have quite a few people that are part of our group that that I have their phone number, and so if we ever see anyone that's a veteran, we can get them help quickly or get
right.
them the services and resources they need quickly.
I know just watching a lot of the stuff you guys do and being able to sit in on some of the staff meetings and information that's being sent out by Communities Unlimited. I've learned about the Narcan training that's coming up, a lot of the work that
Hmm.
you're doing. So, in the overall scope of your position as the Planning and Community Development Director, you also talked about working within diverse cultures. Talk a little
Hmm.
bit about that and the role that that plays in to the impact of the work that you do.
I mean, it plays a huge part in just my life. Part some of the stuff that I wrote in on my bio is that um, just the experience I've been able to have of a, a kid that's born in Jamaica, been to the
Right,
U.S., had the opportunity to travel to many different countries. I've been to Asia, been to Europe, I've been to Africa. Um, I've been to just different places. I've been down to New Zealand as well, and to down in South America. So I've had the opportunity to see and work with people from different backgrounds and different cultures, um, and that one allows me to have conversation with the different groups of people that are here. Some of them that are kind of in their silos, um, kind of break that barrier. Or talking to them about these are some of the things that we're trying to do as a city, and it takes all of us. It's not just this one group or this. It takes all of us that live here um, for growth and development to happen. And you are here and you're a part of that too. So we need your contribution. We need your voice at the table in your neighborhoods, in your community. Um, I have a comprehensive plan of uh, these goals that are up here,
right.
but in order to do that, all these steps down here, um, I can't do that without the input from the people that live in the neighborhood, that live in the community. And so my experience allowed me to kind of break those barriers and have those conversations with the people excuse me, in the neighborhood and in the community
So
to
how
allow
receptive,
for.
so how receptive has the people been in the community? I know you have a lot of partners that organizations that you work with, but when you go into the actual communities and you say, Vashil, I'm doing these things, how receptive are they to the revitalization and the community development initiatives that you're trying to bring to those communities?
I would say it's getting a lot better. They've been a lot more receptive, one, because it's moving from just having a conversation to action that's happening. We'll talk and do all these plans and do all these, but we're moving from just doing these plans to, all right, let's, we like to call it the low hanging fruit. What's something that we can get done in the next 2 months?
Right.
Uh, we have all these stuff. We might create a plan with all these different things, but what's something that we can show some results in the next 2 months to encourage more people to be engaged in that, and then kind of build from there. And so we've seen a lot more people in different neighborhoods more active, wanting to
Right.
get more involved because they see that it's not just having talks and putting stuff on paper. It's now we're going there. We're building a community garden. We're building a jogging trail. We're putting in these different things. We're working on a community center for people to be able to gather. We're doing things. We're moving to action now, and so excuse me, to allow more people to want to be involved and
Okay.
contribute to their own neighborhoods.
Okay. So, two-part question for you.
Yeah.
So, first, and you can answer it either for first or last. But what's been your biggest challenge, and what's been your biggest success in your role as the planning and community development director?
Um, I would say my biggest challenge is it's a two part. It's funding and it is um how do I say this in a nice way? It's dealing with some of the governmental stuff.
Yeah.
I think funding and dealing with that. I mean, and I tell people this all the time. For me, I being a professional athlete, I had to learn to do things quickly. I would
Right.
play with this team, and then I switch, and I'll be on another team in a couple months, and I had to go learn plays and be ready to get on the court and just learn to switch and adapt. Um, and I think that was my struggle when I switched to government was that things are a little bit slower. I had to kind of pull back. Um, some of the stuff you'll see, there's a lot of paperwork. But I think yeah, funding and just the different pace of how things move in government was probably the biggest hurdle I see. And what was the other part? Like my biggest,
And your biggest success so far being in this role?
I think my biggest success um, is seeing the biggest success for me isn't one. It's just seeing the impact of what all the different changes that's happened in the last 5 years
Right.
within a different community, whether it is uh, getting a person getting the person into housing, and now that person got their CDL and they're getting a good paying job, and they're now back on their feet and they're able to do their own thing, or building a community garden that's now being used by the whole community, a place where kids used to gather and fight is now a place where people gather to go pick fruit out of the garden or go play basketball, and just seeing growth and change happen within neighborhoods. Um, Not just my effort, the effort of my team, and the people that live in those communities. I think I would say that's where I get most success from is just seeing how the passion that I had when I was a kid for wanting to see change
Right.
in my little village in Jamaica. I'm still having that passion and be able to contribute to the neighborhoods and communities in Texarkana to have growth and see change.
Okay. Yeah, because I've noticed like a lot of the different changes that are going on in the community. I know the city is doing a lot of efforts to be able to help the Beverly area with the incident with Burrow came through and kind of destroyed some of the homes and destroy some of the streets that are there in that neighborhood. So I'm looking forward to see how those initiatives play to help that neighborhood get back on its feet. Because I grew up there. I grew up over in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, Waterman, those different places. So I was as a kid, I was running up and down those streets, and I remember
Yeah.
it didn't look like it looked. I know there's blight and things right now, but it was
Mm-hmm.
really prosperous community where we had working class families living there. A lot of my friends lived there. We would play on the streets, play sports. So I'm looking forward to see a lot of the things that your department is doing and a lot of the community partners who are working with you to be able to bring that community back to life, so that it can be. I know it will never be like it was, but get it to a level where that those people that live in the community will be proud of being there and more people want to come in and make that their home. So I'm
Yeah.
looking to see a lot of the things that you're doing across the city. I see the things that are going on downtown. I think when I moved back here back in August, I think I talked to you once before about there was an
Yeah.
initiative known for the Jameson building to
Mm-hmm.
bring life back to that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes about, how that transpires. Because we see the things that are going on with Graham. We see the things that are going on with the different businesses that are popping up throughout downtown. And of course, along I-30, I was just over at Taziki's today to see a different um, concept or component come to our city. I think those
Mm-hmm.
things be able to bring life back to the city as a whole. So I'm looking to see how those things, even looking to kind of contribute in any way that I can with volunteerism and things of that nature to help our city get back to where it used to be, thriving, growing in all aspects. When you think
Yeah.
about your role as the director of planning the community, you're a transplant here, your family's here, you're a girl dad just like me.
Mm-hmm.
We talked earlier about trying to get them together so we can get started. And family in this community is a big thing. Just growing up here, I know
Mm-hmm.
family is a big
Mm-hmm.
piece that people want to grow and thrive here. And people want things where they can do with their families and their kids can grow and be able to have a this sustainable life. So, what are some of the things that your department or some of the committees that you're on? What are some of the things that they're looking at that are family oriented that can take Texarkana to that level where more and more families are wanting to relocate here?
I think one of the things that we're looking at is even in our downtown is encouraging a lot of the property owners down there that own property there uh, to kind of get involved with just the trajectory of what's happening down there with the growth that's happening. Um, when the Grim opens, that's 93 units that's going to be filled with families and individuals that's going to need things.
Right.
And so, excuse me, having having more people that own property down there start get involved and invest in their property to create the need, create things for the demand that's going to be there. And one, um, kind of taking feedback as I mentioned from the people that live here, even the different neighborhoods, trying to figure out how can I serve you. What are some of the things that y'all want to see? We might not be able to do this, but we might be able to do this. And so having that conversation, and people are sometimes afraid to ask, but you won't know unless we ask. We have that conversation, and that's one of the things I'm very big on is I'm not here to give my ideas to you. I'm here to hear what your ideas are and give suggestions if one thing might not be feasible at this point, but we can work on this and potentially build up to that. That's one of the things I'm big on as we build out these comprehensive plan and do all these things. One of the big goals in there is to have neighborhood-led growth and development, and that starts by them giving us their input and we going into those neighborhoods. Like I can give you an example with Beverly.
Right.
Um, we met a couple of years ago, and one of the things they talk about is just having a place for kids to go. Um, and so we've been working tirelessly the last couple of years with working with Miss Christy Kendrick and the Believe in Beverly Neighborhood Association to get to get that center that used to be a Boys and Girls Club open.
Right.
And thankfully, we got it open right in the nick of time when Barrow went through. It is serving as kind of the hub for that community. The kids are able to go in there. People are going in there and get hot meal. They're able to go in there and get water, get clothes, and so um, really that was kind of the turning point for us. And now you talk about just different efforts to kind of help those people rebuild. Um, and I am just looking forward to the community see that we're here to help, and this just becomes a trajectory of let's continue doing more for that neighborhood, to get it to a place of sustainability, get rid of blight, get rid of the dilapidated housing, and start making it a place where more families want to be, want to raise their kids because there's things within the community for their family to do.
Okay. And on the note of the Grim, I know you said there's 90 units. There's going to be families coming there, and just thinking about what you just talked about with the Beverly community, with some of the dilapidated homes and some of the initiatives that you are doing. It's great that you have the community center open and working with Ms. Kendrick so they can have resources while the work is being done to get them back sustainable. But have you guys talked, or has there been any discussion about maybe working with a developer or a value type community developer that can come in and maybe revitalize those homes or redevelop the homes so you can have homes that are more affordable for that population so they can stay there and be able to grow their families?
So we've had multiple discussions, just trying to get something. We've been working with village communities of Texarkana, Texas, with Mr. Antonio Williams, just about looking at providing affordable homes for people. And so I know they have a huge footprint in Rose Hill, and they're trying to get footprint in Beverly. So we're looking at that, and we're also, even with this, just with Barrow, we're working with a group to try and get some of these people that their home is uninhabitable, to see if we can get. There's a program through TDHCA, a home reconstruction program, to see if we can get these people to get a new house through that program, and there's a couple of them, so that would also help spark some life. I know there's that program specifically. There is a disaster declaration portion where those people will get signed up to get on the docket to get homes. But then there's another portion for just home reconstruction, where in a week or so we're going to Beverly to kind of help some of those people to get the application process for those homes. We've also been through our CDBG funds. We've been working with Habitat to do some home repairs, and so that's another angle. We're encouraging people to apply for some of those home repair programs. So we're trying to look at different angles, how we can either help someone rebuild the house that they have, or looking for space where we can create more affordable housing within that neighborhood. And so I think one of the biggest things that's kind of, I wouldn't say a deterrent, but more of a hurdle that we have to deal with is sometimes a lot of the people, residents in that neighborhood, aren't the property owners. And so it's a matter of trying to track down property owners and working with them to make sure we can build up the area back. And so that's one trying to address the issue of creating affordable homes in that neighborhood. I think that's probably one of our bigger hurdles, is identifying the property owners themselves, in order for us to be able to get some meaningful work done to help the residents in that area.
Okay, that's great, man. I really that was one of the questions that I had. I want to kind of know. I kind of knew like a lot of the work, because I keep in the loop about. I get the emails from the city about the different things that are going on, the different initiatives. But a lot of times If we're on Facebook, people don't really gravitate to those things. So they may
Mm-hmm.
say, well, I don't know, they're not doing this and they're not doing that. So that's
Yeah.
the reason why I've been wanting to try to get you on and some other people so I can get them to hear from the people that are actually out there doing the work,
Yeah.
be able to revitalize the earth and let them know that, yes, you may not see it, but behind the scenes, there are things being done. So it was good
Mm-hmm.
for me to have you on tonight, even though we had the glitches and everything with the power. But it was good for me to have you on to be able to talk about the work that you're doing across the
Mm-hmm.
homeless population, across our communities that are along the main thoroughfares within our city. So
Mm-hmm.
people that are living in those areas can see that, yes, there are things going on in a positive way to make things better for your communities, for your families, for your children. And there's opportunities for you to be able to get involved if you feel
Yeah.
that you be
Yeah.
able to do that. So this has been great for me to have you come on and talk with you. Like I said, I've seen you around, watch you do the work that you do, looking at the things that our other partners are doing. So this is an opportunity for me to bring you not only to our population of listeners through our podcast and our media platform, so they can know that, hey, there is work going on, and if you want to get involved, there's people that you can connect with. So as we come
Mm-hmm.
to a close, if you think about all the work that you do, from community development to working with the diverse cultures and population within our city to the homeless population, what would be, if you had a magic wand, what would be one of the things that you would do to make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time?
That's a good question. I've never been asked that.
Always leave the big one for
um,
last.
yeah, that's a huge question. Um, I would say, and I can answer this question on twofold. For me, again, I talk about my faith really drives who I am, and always sharing my faith and sharing my relationship with God and encouraging people in their relationship with God would something I think would have a huge impact.
Right.
Um, but in terms of or Texarkana community, I think the biggest part of it is if I didn't need money to do things.
Right.
Like I didn't need money to go help clean up a blight or build homes in this neighborhood or put in sidewalks. I could just go in there and build the sidewalks and not worry about money. Um, I think that's one of the issues because really some of the things it comes down to a lot of the stuff that we want to accomplish. One, we get for my department, we try to find grants and different things like that um, to help get those projects to fruition. And I think, as I mentioned, that's one of the biggest hindrances, not having the funding to
Right.
go build the sidewalks or redevelop the streets or deal with some of the stuff that I'd like to see in the neighborhood or help with bringing in affordable housing
Right.
that people can actually live in. Um, I would say it's one of the things I would do apart from sharing our faith is to um, be able to do a project and not having to worry about the money.
Right. The money is a big thing. You got to have it
Yes,
to
yes,
be able to, what they say. They say people make the world go around, but money makes it click and work. So
uh huh,
yeah. So, man, I applaud you and your team for all the work that you're doing. I really appreciate you for coming on tonight to have a discussion with us. I hope we can do this again. Anytime
yes,
you have something that's going on, you want to reach the people, just shoot me a message or call me, and I'll be glad to have you come on and let you have the platform to be able to discuss what you're doing. I think the work that you're doing is very valuable. I can see the passion that you have in the work. I see that it stems from your faith in our Father. That's allowing you to keep moving and keep moving forward, even though you might have some setbacks or you might not have the amount of money that you need. I think that faith keeps you
mm-hmm.
doing the great work that you do. So keep doing that, keep having the faith, keep growing, because that's going to take you where you need to be, and that's going to help our city grow. That's going to help our city get back to where it comes from. And that's
Yes,
from,
most definitely.
yeah. So I really appreciate your time, being able to come on tonight and speak with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the first of the doubleheader for tonight with Vashil Fernandez of the City of Texarkana Planning and Community Development Department, tomorrow we will have Mr. Jesse Darby Tillis on, and he's going to be talking with us about his Hype and Glory wrestling promotion and HypeCon and all the things that he's going to be doing in the city to keep us entertained. So
Yeah,
again,
he's doing some good work.
yeah, he's doing some great work. I'm looking forward to talking with him. So he's a funny guy, good character, and I think that's the type of energy we need to get Texarkana on the next level. So I'm looking to be excited to hear what he's going to talk about tomorrow.
Yes, most definitely.
All right, Vashil, we really appreciate your time. As always, what's your TXK state of mind? Thank you.